Just do it, JP. It's all you, JP. I'm drinking beer, man. I'm busy. Oh.
Welcome to the Major League Gaming Starcraft 2 King of the Beta Hill Show Match Series. I'm JP McDaniel, and co-hosting with me tonight will, of course, be none other than Sean Day9 Plot. What's going on, Sean?
Dude, not much, but I am not going to lie. I am so excited for these two players to play because, honestly, I think they're two of the top talents alive right now.
All right, so here you have it. He is, of course, talking about our two players, and tonight they will be the Zerg player SLush, former XD's member from old StarCraft 1 days. We saw him last week actually defeat Chthon Luck, who was a 4-week-in-a-row Show Match Series veteran, and SLush pretty easily took him out. So he will be playing our Terran opponent tonight, QXC. And Sean, why don't you tell us about QXC?
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting QXC not too long ago because he is attending the undergrad that I went to, so that was pretty awesome. He always loves being as aggressive as he can. Even when I was talking to him, I noted that, and he said, yeah, I always trying to find an excuse to be able to attack my opponent more and more and more. And all of his builds kind of have that same theme. He loves bunker rushing Zergs. He loves doing Thor drops against Zergs. He loves any way to just get in his opponent's face and throw him off a little bit. And QXC has also been tearing it up a lot in some of those triple strike tournaments. I know that the team that both of these players are on route has been succeeding in that quite a bit, and I am really excited to see these two players duke it out, especially because SLush beat Chthon Luck, who I think in the 4 show matches that he won, only lost 2 games total, beating Idra and Artosis and Orb and the Little Ones. So I'm especially excited to see if QXC, will be able to play at a level even higher than Chthon Luck's and take out SLush today.
All right, guys, before we get started, if you have never watched the MLG Showcase series before, or you simply just forgot, this is a best-of-7 series, and our first map is going to be on Lost Temple, so let's make sure that both these players are ready, and we'll go ahead and get into Game 1 here, waiting for the two players to confirm that they're ready. It looks like QXC might have taken a little restroom break waiting. Okay, he's jacked up and good to go. Good old Terran. So let's go ahead and get this map started.
And Lost Temple is just one of my favorite maps always to start off any series on, because it's that one that players are familiar with, that has the basic structures of the natural, that's relatively easy to take, and even more nice about it is that there's the gold expansion that's also easy to take, but there's that cliff on the high ground, and the Xel'Naga watchtowers in the middle really favor the aggressive player. So I'm very excited to see if QXC is going to be experimenting with some of his more recently developed Thor strategies.
All right, so here we go. Both players are getting ready to spawn as we have everyone loading the map. Looks like everyone's complete. Not sure who we're waiting on here at the loading screen.
I don't know why it's taken so long, but it's chugging, and it's done. All right, there we go.
So there we go. We do have the orange Zerg in the east spawning point, SLush, and in the west we have the purple Terran QXC. So, Sean, TVZ, what do you know about this matchup on this map?
Well, I think the biggest thing to note is that the patch just happened, so all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of issues with some of the stuff that SLush is going to want to be doing early. SLush, I have played against in Terran vs. Zerg quite a bit. He likes playing a pretty typical get the expansion when you can sort of build. He will try to do a 14 hatch if he can, but generally gets the pool and then his expansion. And then from there, he gets just enough roaches to stay alive before going straight for Mutalisks or straight for Hydralisks. He needs some unit that can deal with high ground aggression, and also Mutas and Hydras are very good at destroying Terran's unit composition, especially the Mutalisks are an excellent choice because so often Terrans are going to be expanding and favoring too many Marauders.
Looking over at QXC QXC's base, we do see that supply depot going down, so we're not going to be seeing an early Rax here for any early Reaper harassment. Going back over to SLush's base, he is going to be building up those drones, possibly going for a 15 pool or possibly a 16 hatch, taking that natural expansion. We'll have to see what he decides to do. The Rax is now going down for QXC with an SCV drone, now going out to scout the Zerg player SLush. Still no gas right now for QXC, but it looks like it's going to be pretty standard from the Terran player. And there we see the pull first from SLush, so we won't be seeing too much of an early expansion, but it's still possible, as that's still quite early in the game right now.
Wow, that's an unusually early extractor for the styles of play I've seen SLush execute. He really does love getting that expansion up quite fast. Now, QXC is a sort of a player I'm not quite sure to expect out of, because traditionally I would say something along the lines of Terran will be going for 2 fast Hellions, as we've seen Cthon Luck loves doing. More recently, we've had players who go for 2 starports worth of Banshees early on, but QXC has been experimenting around with Hellion Thor pushes early on, doing some weird delays into mass barracks with ghosts. I mean, just a lot of creativity out of QXC, and also his trademark Mondo aggression.
We do see that pull finishing now for SLush. Looks like he's going to be getting his queen up, as well as a couple of Zerglings. Going back over into QXC's base, he does have that one Marine now chasing out that scouter drone from SLush. It looks like he's going to try to corner it right here, going up to the north of his base. That orbital command center is down, and there we see the first mule come in. Going back over to SLush, we do not see any tech, although it is quite early. Possibly going to be getting Zergling speed, as he's about to 100 gas right now. There's a drone actually going out, looking like it's going to be at his expansion, but he does have that SCV from QXC blocking it. Now he's going to be pulling back as those 4 lings pressure him to pull back, and this drone is going to be putting down a pull here right when it gets 300 minerals. There it goes. So looks like SLush is going to be opting for this fast expand build, and we do see now a reactor on QXC's racks and also a factory going down, so possibly going to be seeing some Hellion harassment from the Terran player.
How disappointingly normal, right? Would have loved to see some sort of weird mass Raven rush or something like that. But alas, just standard solid, straight up as can be. We also know that there's no gas going down for QXC, so almost certainly going to be building a command center right now. And of course, there it does go down. Very standard, solid way to early expand. Hellions do a little bit of damage and prevent Zerg from scouting. But SLush, I love his build for a few reasons. First of all, he gets the Zerglings before he expands, which means that nothing can interrupt his expansion. Absolutely nothing will prevent him from doing exactly what he wants to do. Well, I mean, he let that SCV up into his main.
A little bit of a blunder right there.
But, so often if you try to rely on a 14 hatch as your standard build, or even 14 pool 16 hatch, so much stuff can throw you off early on that without a ton of experience, you might be in a lot of trouble. But also, it looks like we have Zergling speed is finished right now. Look at the timing by SLush. He's going to be able to take out any sort of Hellions that get in his face early on. And as we can see, QXC almost certainly surprised by the fact that those 2 Zerglings do have speed already.
We're also getting ready to see a second queen now from the main hatchery of SLush. Going to be transitioning that over to his natural expansion most likely. Actually, he's going to be taking the one that was at his main and putting it on his ramp there to try to block some Hellions that are going to be trying to get into his base. But there we have a handful of Zerglings here trying to surround these Hellions there in the middle of the map. Looks like he is almost going to be able to take one down, and one does fall with the other one. Looks like going to be able to keep that one there, as all those lings were quite low, and he is going to be pulling back those lings back to his base. But looks like QXC is going to be sending now 2 more Hellions, as he is throwing down another Rax inside of his base with that command center now up. He's going to be transitioning that over to his natural expansion, and now we see in the middle of the map these lings. Looks like they're going to try to surround these Hellions again, and they do get one. Wow, great surround from SLush right there. Is this other Hellion going to be able to take out any more units? Looks like he took out 1, 2, but looks like SLush is going to be trying to go for a surround here again.
And this is a really weird situation for most Terrans to be at this point in time. Really, we're seeing a bunch of Hellions continue to be produced by QXC, and normally that would be a sign of huge aggression incoming, but in this circumstance, wow, look at that great micro by QXC. Unbelievable, managing to take out most of those lings. And in most circumstances, this would be Terran really wanting to get aggressive and really wanting to end the game fast. But honestly, this is much more of a defensive play by QXC, because he sees that there are a ton of Zerglings with speed done already, so he needs to worry about that a lot. We are seeing those 4 Hellions being pulled back just to repair. So, I mean, this goes to show you how strong this opening was by SLush and how well-timed it was. The fact that he got those Zerglings up to deflect the harass and force his opponent into passivity with, as we can see, a layer just now finishing some Mutalisks or Hydralisks right around the corner.
And some great scanning there from QXC. As soon as that layer finished, he scanned right on top of it. He knows exactly what his opponent is doing right now in terms of tech. And we also do see him building a starport on top of that reactor. So it's possible we're going to be seeing, or it's more than likely that we're going to be seeing some, as I just completely forget the unit Viking there as it finishes, and I scramble to hover over the unit tooltip. But he's going to be making 2 Vikings now. He's going to be able to harass those Overlords with only, it looks like 2 Queens right now, the only anti-air for SLush. It might put him in a little bit of a sticky situation. We do see that Roach Warren now, and also 4 Hellions right outside the natural expansion of SLush. He's trying to figure out his best method of attacking here, but that Spine Crawler as well as that Queen are just going to be blocking, as well as the Roach Warren as well, or it's going to be blocking any points of entry for the Terran player.
And that is one thing that was so annoying against playing SLush, because, I mean, most of the time you can get in there, do a few damage, or do a few shots to that Queen, do a little bit of damage, perhaps swing around to the drones, but SLush always has amazing positioning with that Roach Warren that's really impossible to get in there. And look at this nice timing by SLush. Those Hydras pop just in time to be able to defend against any kind of Viking harass. And we can see that SLush is planting creep tumors in his main, as well as vomiting creep everywhere, because Hydralisks, though very slow off creep, are surprisingly fast on creep. Get probably some of the biggest speed boosts when compared to the other Zerg units. It feels so good. And see, those 2 Vikings trying to come up right now are going to get repelled before they're able to kill off that last Overlord.
Wow, look at that aggression there by SLush to protect that creep tumor. You don't really see too many Zergs push out that much just to protect a creep tumor, but SLush knows just how valuable those creep tumors are, allowing him to just creep across the map and allowing his units to be able to transition that much quicker across the map whenever he feels like it. Going back over into QXC's base, we do see him adding on a ton of racks now, going up to 6 barracks there. Probably all going to be getting tech labs on those. He's also researching the stim pack upgrade and probably going to be researching the concussive shell upgrade, as he already has quite a few Marauders. Looks like 4 Marauders as well as a couple of medevacs. But SLush is going to be taking down these destructible rocks right outside of his base at the high yield expansion, doing pretty much what every Zerg does on Lost Temple, and just taking that 3rd expansion there at the high yields, really putting him ahead in the economy. We do see a decent scan there from QXC. Looks like he might be able to see that SLush was probably going to be killing those destructible rocks, but he has not seen he hasn't sent any units there to scout it out completely. Going back over into QXC's base, looks like he is just going to be macroing up as many Marauders as possible, now also getting that concussive shells research with his expansion fully running and operational.
I was watching QXC's Vikings. They did manage to kill off 2 stray Overlords at the north of SLush's main. So we are seeing the Vikings have 3 kills between them, which is pretty good. That will put Zerg back quite a bit. We do see SLush is at 97 of 92, so he is supply blocked just a touch. But going into SLush's main, we see that they're in his evolution chamber done. It hasn't begun researching anything yet, but probably worse off for tearing that infestation pit is finished now, and a lot of tech labs and reactors going down in the main of QXC. With 2 reactors and 4 tech labs, he's pretty much keeping an even distribution of Marines and Marauders. He'll have slightly more Marines because they build a little bit faster, but I mean, the best way to sum it up is that QXC is in the mood for some non-stop aggression coming up soon. We do see that command center is finishing, and when that command center finishes is going to be the trigger for QXC to move out and attack, because, you know, best defense is getting in your opponent's face and freaking them out to the point where he can't possibly swing around and attack.
One thing to note is that we do have Infestors now, about 60% done for SLush, and we haven't really talked about it too much, but SLush is extremely good using those Infestors with the Neural Parasite as well as the Fungal Growth. Just an amazing, amazing player when it comes to using those Infestors. But look at these Creep Tumors now in the complete middle of the map. He does also come up to protect that Creep Tumor there. Looks like he's just going to be able to expand his creep across the entire map, which as a Zerg player knows, I mean, that's just a huge, huge thing to have. As a Terran player knows, that's just a horrible, horrible thing to be going up against. So we'll have to see just how he utilizes the creep there as well, as he does have most of his forces there in the middle, possibly going to be seeing some aggression here, taking that Zelnaga watchtower closest to QXC. He also took out that high-yield expansion rock, so it looks like he's going to be moving there over there relatively soon as that command center is done. We do see a handful of Marauders and a handful of Hellions right now for the Terran player, and also he's going to be continuing to harass with these Vikings as they now have 3 kills. He's going to be trying to snipe a couple of drones here. They do get 1 drone, 2 drones, now almost 3 drones. Wow, SLush needs to hurry up and get those Hydralisks over there and snipe those Vikings really quickly. He does have the Overlords up there to get him range. He does take one of those out, but he lost a couple of drones right there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the most annoying things about Viking openings, especially on this map, is that you can land on that high ground to shoot the drones, or you can just fly from the high ground. It's very hard to see past it. So look at this, out in the middle of the map, QXC getting ready to build a turret right there. Does not want to lose to any kind of Roach Burrowing Rush. But here comes SLush with a huge attack, one great infestation on all those Marauders, but it's the Marines he really needs to worry about. With all those Roaches done, the Marines are the only unit that can really do serious damage output to the Hydralisks. We're seeing a lot of those Hydras die, especially because there's some Hellions being able to do a little bit of damage on the side. And wow, look at that great macro by QXC. Helps to make a beautiful arc, so he can win that battle pretty handily. So we're seeing QXC is down by about 20 food right now, but honestly, there are a few too many Marauders in that force by QXC, which is going to make Hydralisks quite difficult to deal with. And how are we seeing QXC respond? By getting a bunch of tanks, the long-lost favorite unit from Starcraft 1. So I'm sure a lot of our observers are delighted to see that one.
Yeah, we actually talked about this a little bit on the State of the Games podcast. But Sean, what do you think about the new siege mode now? Is it attack is a little bit different, where Splash is now originating from the center of the attack? Is it just really buffing up the siege tank mode for those siege tanks?
So much. It helps a ton versus Hydralisks. If you want to aim in the back, it actually will hit all the Hydras in the back, as opposed to you having to do any sort of awkward retargeting with the guys in the back. So absolutely one of the best ways to play. And as we can see, QXC also doing a little bit of a medevac drop in the main, but look, those creep tumors have been spawned, so SLush is well aware of it. This queen is going to go down immediately, and it looks like he is sprinting to target fire all of those evolution chambers, but Ling's done already for SLush. And look at SLush able to dart back so fast, and with the Hydras coming, target fires the full medevac, takes that out, and it looks like a pretty significant loss for QXC. If only QXC was able to kill off that Evo chamber, delay those upgrades a little bit more, but as we can see, Zerg's doing pretty good in the upgrade front.
Looking at QXC, we do see him dropping some missile turrets, a little reminiscent here of a Met Crawl from StarCraft 1 now across the map, because he's going to be having these siege tanks here, backing up his mass Marauder, Marine, and Medevac force. We haven't really seen that from too many Terran players, at least I haven't. I think it's really unique. Going back over to SLush's base, we do see him massing up more Roaches, more Hydralisk, and also going to be continuing to build those infestors. Looks like he's at 2-1 upgrades now, and QXC is at 2-1 as well. He does have a scan right here. He's going to be able to take out these creep tumors here in the middle of the map. Really going to be able to delay the reinforcement of SLush. It looks like he might not even have to reinforce anything. We do see a burrow now from SLush. SLush is well known for using that, but a scan right on top of it is going to make SLush unburrow those Roaches and pull them back. Looks like we're about to see a fight right here. Wow, some lone Marauders here going in for a little bit of a snipe. Not really sure what that was from QXC. Possibly just a little bit of a poke, possibly a blunder. Not really sure what QXC was doing there. He only lost, I think,
to kill that Infestor. I mean, that's a pretty big shot. I mean, like, getting the Infestors out of the way is fantastic. I mean, you get to cut back on the fungal growth. Your mobility stays up. So I actually pretty much like that move by QXC, but look at this. Oh no, more burrowing going on by SLush, but SLush doesn't have those creep tumors, so he's not going to have vision of that area, so he really needs to rely on these turrets, and I mean, SLush is getting pretty close to him, but is still doing a good job of backing off.
Looks like we do see a turret there about to start building there in the middle of the map, right underneath those Roaches, at least recently right underneath those Roaches. We do see him taking out those turrets there in the north part of the center of the map with those Hydralisk, and he is going to be able to snipe this Infestor, possibly. He does get it down there with the slow, and he does snipe it. I bet you we see SLush kind of go in for a full-on attack right here, as now 2 Infestors have been sniped. There's one there in the back, or in the front of the natural expansion, but it doesn't not have enough energy to fully use fungal growth. Here comes QXC. Looks like he's going to be taking out a little bit more Roaches here, but SLush does pull him back easily with the added speed from that creep.
And wow, and look at this great drop at the bottom, man, just to kill off this hatch. And meanwhile, in the middle of the map, huge push coming from QXC. So many Marauders, and with that extra food to build those Roaches, the army size of SLush is a lot smaller. Cannot rely on having that many Roaches, and with all those Infestors sniped, QXC is in great position, but that is a lot of Hydralisks advancing forward. He is taking out all of those medevacs, and with the 2 stims that QXC had to do beforehand, his units are very low on health, but fortunately with those 2 tanks in the background, Terran's feeling much healthier after that attack, and look at this food differential. They were both maxed, but now QXC at 160 and his opponent SLush at 120. So beautiful job by QXC, showing the true power of that double-pronged aggression, dropping at the south and pushing in the middle.
We do see these drones about to transfer over, but a scan from QXC does make SLush pull those drones back there from the high yield expansion. Looks like QXC is possibly going to be able to take this high yield expansion out with ease. He does have quite a few forces there back at his base, but he also has quite a few forces as well as a couple siege tanks right outside the main. Now SLush trying to get out here with his forces. He's even bringing his drones. Little last ditch effort here from SLush. It looks like he's probably going to be able to take out this force from QXC, but QXC, the good player that he is going to continue macroing there in his main. He does have quite the formidable force there, but QXC actually taking out a little bit more Hydras than I expected right there, losing all of his Metafacts, losing his entire force, but he did take out quite a few units there from SLush.
And one thing I'm noticing is that more and more, I mean, even if you go to the unit counting station, there really are much fewer roaches in this mix for SLush. SLush favoring more Hydralisks and more Zerglings, which is a slightly more modern way of playing that definitely aligns well with that recent change of making the roaches cost one additional food can really get in the way of the size of army that you definitely want to have as Zerg. And look at SLush up at 2,300 food, and QXC doing another drop on this high ground. Wow, SLush trying to go for this big attack up in the north, but his units get cut in half, and all of these Hydras just get demolished, and SLush GG's.
And we do see the GG there from SLush, putting QXC up 1-0 now over the last week's winner of the MLG Showcase Series. And now SLush is going to be coming back on Steps of War. Steps of War we will have relatively soon here as we are about to wrap up Map 1. But before we do, Sean, did you expect QXC to win that match?
I mean, I was at the very least expecting some very nice aggression by QXC, some well-timed attacks, which we definitely got the chance to see, but I think the thing that blew my mind most is how big of an effect the roach change had. I mean, there were so much fewer roaches than what I'm used to seeing out of SLush, from what I'm used to experiencing in my games against him. I mean, I was really blown away by how one-sided that game was, so I'm really excited to see how SLush plays it out on this next map, which is one of my favorites. Why don't you introduce it for us, JP?
All right, so we will be back relatively soon here on Steps of War, Map 2 of week, I think this is week 10, of the MLG Showcase Series. Oh, okay. So let me go and get these players invited here. As completely stopped talking information from the producer. But yeah, getting these players back into the second map here on Steps of War. Who else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, our producer and Day 9.
Hip hip hooray. Hey, sorry about the comment on the Infestor. It sounded like I hated you.
No, I totally didn't see him snipe the Infestor there, so that was perfectly fine. So, all right, there we have it. Both players in the match.
You, JP.
QXE asking for 1 second, so it looks like we're going to give him that second, of course, being the nice people that we are here at MLG.
We can spare 1 second.
Indeed, we could spare 1 second. But looks like everything was fine on the stream there. Looks like our viewers are quite happy. So waiting for QXC to get back as we start this match. SLush saying that he was at 200 so quickly and that his army felt like nothing. He's talking about that patch change today where roaches are now 2 supply instead of 1. And I'm sure all Zergs everywhere are probably just crying right there as they feel the same thing that SLush is talking about right now. QXC looks like he might be back.
You know, that doesn't bother me so much because I feel like the roach, I mean, in the original patch 1, roaches were so strong that you could go roaches in the early game, which transitioned well into roaches in the mid game, which transitioned well into roaches in the late game. I mean, because there was an upgrade for them at each level. They were just phenomenal units. And now I'm really interested to see more Zergs experiment with these non-roach styles of play. I even sparred a little bit with Artosis after our HDH match, and even in that one, I had trouble against his Hydra, Ling, Baneling composition. So definitely looking forward to seeing some more changes like that. So we do have SLush spawning in the bottom left as the orange Zerg, and in the top right, we have QXC as the purple Terran.
All right, so looks like haven't really seen anything from either of these players in terms of build yet because we are so early on here. But Steps of War, one of the closest maps, I think, in terms of spawning points in the StarCraft 2 map pool right now. Sean, how do you think this affects the ZVT matchup?
Well, already it looks like we're going to see one big change by QXC, a Barracks on 9. This is the opening du jour, or perhaps it will be a Barracks on 10, or maybe he's just building a supply depot after sending the earliest SCV in the world, apparently showing off a little bit of breakdancing skills before he began throwing it down. Honestly, I think that 9 Barracks is a very good strategy that a lot of players have been doing against Zerg. You get the ability to snipe that first scouting overlord that Zerg has, so Zerg has to be ultra careful about how they move that around the map. But we're not seeing any of that out of QXC, just playing a little bit more normal. going to be setting up his barracks at the front. Now, Zerg does need to worry a little bit more about setting up that expansion, so I'd be delighted to see SLush use the exact same builds he used last game. A lot of Zergs do not like getting anything until they've begun speed, and we do see that there is that 14 pool going down right now, but still no gas, so we'll see how SLush wants to open.
Going back over into QXC's base, we do see him throwing down the refinery as well as his racks now at about 50% complete. We will probably see him taking that command center and morphing it into an orbital command center there as soon as that racks finishes. We also see a SCV here at the natural expansion of SLush. Looks like he's looking for that early expansion, not even moving it in to scout what the... Oh, wow, look at this drone here from SLush, hiding it off to the right of his main base. He is pulling that drone out right now, right behind that SCV. No idea that SLush is actually doing this. A little bit of a sneaky play from SLush, but I like it. He's going to be pulling back that SCV right now. He's probably going to be seeing this hatchery relatively soon, and there it is, probably confused and not really sure how he snuck that drone by right there, but really sneaky play from SLush.
The poor, bitter, enraged QXC. Every Terran loves blocking Zerg's hatch. Whether they admit it or not, that is their favorite thing in the world to do, and I hate it. And, it's really unfortunate that QXC didn't get it off, because already it's an annoying thing when you're in a best of big amount, in a best of 5, best of 7, something like this, where someone does that little cute one-upping. It's a little frustrating when you're like, but I totally thought I was blocking the hatch, and you're actually not. And already we have SLush getting that extractor up, so he's going to be getting speed for his Zerglings very soon, or more unorthodoxly, getting his lair right out the gate. But look at this, a factory and a barracks coming up by QXC, another very popular build on this map. You end up getting the reactor, there it is, going down. Thank you for the timing, QXC, with Exhibit A. But you get the Hellions out, and then with 2 barracks, you just slam out some Marauders and do some very, very fast aggression at the front doors. Again, one of those reasons why Zerg love getting speed for their Zerglings first.
We do see that hatch now pop there, the natural expansion of SLush, and an SCV is going to sneak by that queen. Now QXC is going to be able to see everything that SLush is up to in his base. He's going to be seeing that extractor with that spawning pool, and no Roachborn yet. I don't think he has seen it in the back of his base. There he goes, making sure he scouts the entire base of SLush, but he is going to lose that ACV to that queen. Going back over into the main of QXC, he is moving that factory onto that reactor that he just built with that racks. Then he is going to be making a tech lab on that other racks there behind and dropping this other racks down to make another tech lab. So easy transition here into Marauders after this early Hellion harassment.
And, I suppose I spoke a little too soon, just overemphasizing the Zergling speed. I mean, the other easy way to deal with Hellions is to get Roaches out, and this really is the SLush that we all know and love, the player who loves doing this exact timing, 14 pool, 16 hatch, then getting the 16 extractor-ish, and then getting up just enough Roaches to hold off any sort of harassment with a Spine Crawler until he can get a higher level of tech up. That way he can end up dealing with this sort of Marauder and Hellion kiting a lot more easily. Look at this nice control by QXC trying to snipe these units away, but unfortunately there are already Roaches at the ramp, so there's not going to be too much that QXC can do, except roast some Zerglings in the meantime.
Yeah, it looks like those 3 Lings were on hold position there to not allow QXC's Hellion to rush up that ramp, and now they are being chased off by those 3 Roaches there. He's also going to be moving the Spine Crawler up. Now, look how long it takes for this Spine Crawler to burrow. That's 6 seconds. It's not done yet. It's still got 6 more. There are 12 seconds to fully burrow for that Spine Crawler. That came in patch 11, and I see a lot of Zerg players complaining about that just because you can't even really lift it if you're at all about to be attacked. But now we see these Roaches actually going for a little bit of aggression against the Terran player. He's repairing these Hellions there with 2 SCVs, but now just too many forces from the Terran player there with so many Marauders. They're chasing out those 3 Roaches from SLush, but he only lost 1, so I guess he knows what his opponent is up to right now. He's pulling back that Spine Crawler now. He needs to hurry up and get that burrowed, as we might see a lot of aggression here from QXC.
Oh my god, it just takes so long to burrow. Oh my god, more Spine Crawlers trying to be made, but once again, that building speed is so long, and I'm really surprised SLush is going to be struggling this much with this play, because this is exactly what Chthon Luck did to him, and SLush demolished it so badly, and we're seeing all those Hellions and Marauders doing so much damage. Spine Crawlers are not quite done yet. It looks like Hellions are going to be able to make their way up the ramp, and these other 2 Spine Crawlers need a finish. Jesus, they take a long time to finish, and it looks like with just a few seconds to spare, those Spine Crawlers barely get up in time, but I mean, the damage has already been done. Both those queens are down right now for SLush. The best transition at this point would be to throw down a Spire. A good way to abuse the fact that Terran has virtually no anti-air, but I mean, these Hellions are doing so much damage in the back. Will they roast any more drones? 6 kills on one of those Hellions that just fell. Wow.
We do see a command center there in the main of QXC, so he's going to be easily able to take down or take that natural expansion. Look at this Hellion Micro there in the main of SLush, trying to get as many drones as possible. They're evading those roaches as he does not have the glial reconstitution, allowing those roaches to move much faster than they already do right now. But looks like that Hellion is still alive, now finally going to die. QXC just being a little bit of an annoyance right there, not really doing anything except making SLush work for that kill. We do see him possibly... wow, he's not even rebuilding any queens yet from either of those hatcheries. Actually, one of them and his main is about halfway done, but he's going to be researching Burrow on this other hatchery, and now we see a couple more Marauders and a couple Hellions from the main of QXC rushing straight towards this ramp, possibly just going to be containing the Zerg player right now.
Also, a very good response by SLush, getting that Burrow and that Roach, the Tunneling Claws upgrade. He'll be able to move cross-map. There is a little bit of... oh no, huge attack coming on by QXC. He's not going to wait for any of that to be able to get operational. He's just going to abuse the left side of this ramp, the fact that that third Spine Crawler is so far away, and he just might be able to walk up the ramp with all these Marauders. He's trying to block them off with these Roaches, but it looks like not enough on the ramp, just happily one-shotting all these Roaches, and it looks like QXC is going to be in for a serious struggle. He's trying to burrow the Spine Crawler, but knowing in a million years it's going to get burrowed in time. And some more Roaches coming out, but too bad for SLush. He just set up those defenses a little bit too late.
Yeah, it looks like SLush is going to be trying to fight till the last second here, pulling out his drones now. He might actually be able to defend... oh, wow, I thought that Spine Crawler was going to fall. But it looks like, look at these drones doing as much damage possible to these Marauders. He possibly might be able to hold this off as he has a bunch of links there. He needs to put those on those Marauders there. Looks like he's forgetting his QXC is just going to be able to micro those couple of links there, attacking those 2 Marauders. Going back over into the main of QXC, he just has so many Marauders right now with so many more racks being added. Looks like he is going to go up to 5 racks here relatively soon, with a starport being thrown down as well. Going back into SLush space, he has finished off those Marauders, but it looks like SLush possibly going to be staying in this game for as long as possible. I figured we might have seen a GG there, but SLush proving that he actually could possibly come back and win this.
I mean, that's a very frustrating spot to be in for SLush. You haven't gotten the advantage of the extra larva from the Queen in years. I mean, he has lost, what, 3-4 Queens at this point already? And look at all the tech labs going down in that main, 2 reactors as well. Has Stim done? Oh my goodness, that's going to be really hard to deal with. I mean, SLush absolutely needs to set up at that ramp right away. And look at the burrow time for those Spine Crawlers. God, that's so long. Oh, poor Zergs around the world, and now their Roaches are harder to build? Oh, man. Hopefully we'll see a slight readjustment from that, maybe give them 2 armor again or something like that. But for now, SLush, taking advantage of this high ground, absolutely brilliant move. It means that those Marauders cannot do the kiting that they love doing. Only way that they can do that is once air units get built, and as we can see, that starport doesn't quite have a reactor done yet. QXC having incredible macro, almost done getting +1 attack, also going for +1 armor, and look at QXC just wandering around the back door. So he has all these other units from behind to worry about now, but it's okay. He's just going to spend several minutes reburrowing these Spine Crawlers, and here they come. Oh, Mo.
Yeah, it looks like QXC is going to push in there. He is scanning on top of those Roaches, and he did see them burrow, but now those Spine Crawlers are down. Looks like SLush might be able to repel this Marauder attack there. He's going to have to be careful, though, as there's just so many Marauders right now, but he does have quite a few Roaches. Looks like he's going to be able to get in here with the creep speed there. He's going to be able to take out probably all of these forces, but if you look back in the main, all of those racks now are fully operational. There's 6 racks, 4 with tech labs, 2 with reactors. He's also pumping out those medevacs. So it looks like QXC doesn't really mind too much that he just lost a lot of forces there, as he knows that SLush is quite behind right now with this early game harassment.
Look at that nice sensor tower. One thing I love about a lot of the top Terrans nowadays is they just have beautiful sensor tower usage. Absolutely nothing is even getting close to that main without QXC knowing all about it. Look at him already sending that medevac. Are there any forces nearby there? No, not quite yet. There is a Spire that just finished in the back of SLush's main, but there are so many units moving down here to this bottom expo. very easy for QXC to take us out if SLush doesn't send units there right away, but it looks like SLush is just going straight up for a burrowing attack, and oh my god, SLush just... Wow, QXC doesn't really have any units in his main. It looks like SLush just canceled that hatchery and is happily moving forward.
Yeah, he might actually be able to put a little bit of dent into QXC's economy right here. He has a couple Marines there, a little bit of the wrong unit choice from the Terran player. SLush is probably going to be able to take out this expansion here with these roaches. We do see those stemmed Marines now with a handful of Marauders. He has those units split. Looks like he needs to pull those roaches in the back, taking down that refinery and put them onto those forces. But now we see a drop from QXC here at the natural expansion of SLush. Looks like he took out all of those drones there, or at least many of them. Oh, okay, actually he pulled back. It looks like he took about 5 or 6. He might possibly be trying to snipe this hatchery, but we do see these Mutalisks now here taking out the medevac first before the Marauders. He might lose this hatchery. It looks like it is going to fall. Oh no, that's going to be so hard for SLush to come back right now with a hatchery down there at the natural expansion.
SLush has had the opportunity to build up a little bit of money in the midst of this attack. He has a lot of larvae left over. He could throw down a whole bunch of extra Mutalisks, but really this attack is going to be it for SLush if he chooses to do so. He might pull back and try to set himself up for a little bit later of a game, really trusting in some powerful late-game management if he wants to go that route, but already looking not so good for SLush as he's trying to rebuild these expansions and also take the other one at the top left. Are we seeing any more Mutalisks being made? Yes, we see 5 Mutalisks getting ready to be built, but look at QXC already moving so aggressively forward with a bunch of Marines and Marauders. Those little aggressive touches at the start of the game are putting them way ahead now as we progress more.
Yeah, it looks like QXC was possibly going to attack right there, but he's just going to pull back because he knows he did just snipe that hatchery there at the natural expansion, and SLush is only running off of 1 base right now. But SLush, noting that he had quite a few, looks like 1,300 minerals right before that last push. He is throwing down a hatchery there at the regular mineral field and also at the high yield, but no, those Marauders are going to deny that. Wow, look at that burrow from SLush on that drone with 8 HP. Some great unit management there. He is probably going to be unburrowing that drone relatively soon, and of course, building another hatchery, trying for round 3 at that high yield. Looking at these Mutalisks of SLush, he is going to be using these to possibly harass the Terran player right here. We see a handful of Marines, but really no Vikings yet right now. Looks like he's going to be continuing to pump out medevacs from that starport. He is going to be harassing here in the main of the Terran player, sniping these medevacs there. It looks like he tried to snipe that one. He also sniped the SCV building on that command center. Looks like he is going to be retreating with these Mutalisks, but one thing to note is that this is delaying the push here from QXC, allowing SLush to get a little bit more time to get these expansions up and get back into this game.
One thing to note, though, there has not been a single upgrade that's come out of SLush yet. He's getting a Baneling Nest now, and there goes the first Evolution Chamber down. As we can see, QXC is halfway done with 2 upgrades, which is going to make it incredibly difficult to deal with all those... incredibly difficult to deal with that giant Marine Marauder push. We do see a scan going down now, taking out more creep tumors. Doesn't want to give Zerg any mobility, and probably even more importantly, any vision of that area. That's one thing that's so great about those creep tumors. You know exactly what's moving on them and where, and here comes the big push by QXC. If he takes out this expansion, I would go so far as to say that SLush would probably end up leaving this game, but we've been wrong about that before, because look there, the hatch goes down immediately. SLush wants to make absolutely certain that these Banelings do end up finishing, so that way he can take out all these Marines and rely on his Mutalisks to finish off the Marauders.
Looks like we're going to see SLush here do one more last stand in this game, as he does have quite a few Banelings right now, as well as this Roach Baneling and Mutalisk, as well as Zergling army composition. He has QXC has also split up his force here, trying to see if he can snipe any more units, but now we're going to see SLush go straight for the heart of the Terran here, going right to the main base. Actually, no, he's going to be trying to cut off these units possibly here. He does see those Marauders there in the main part of the map, but looks like now we see him engage. Look at those Banelings. Looks like they got slowed a little bit. They did some decent damage. Looks like all those Marines are going to be in the back. They're taking out those Mutalisks relatively easily, and those Marauders just finishing off those Roaches quite easily. SLush now really needs to think hard if he wants to stay in this game. There's the GG from the Zerg player. QXC now up 2-0 over SLush. It looks like SLush really hasn't had time to adapt to today's patches there, as we've seen him now fall 2 games to QXC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in that last attack, we got to see some amazing micro by QXC, pulling those Marines into the far back corner to make sure that they couldn't get those Banelings in the back to do the actual damage in there. And the Mutalisk got torn up pretty easily. I mean, very impressive play by QXC. Really interested to see if SLush is going to be doing some of the things that I've seen give other Terrans a lot of trouble, like, you know, getting those Mutalisks out relatively quickly, because that does botch a lot of the unit composition. But I was most surprised to see SLush struggle with that early push. I've seen him defend that so easily, so many times in a row, and this one time, it just seemed to be a lot of trouble. So I guess SLush reeling a little bit from last game, as we heard, and going right into Desert Oasis, a map that is one of my personal favorites. So I'm delighted to see, hopefully, another awesome game on this one, and also hopefully see if SLush can pull through, because I've also seen him demonstrate some pretty amazing flair on this map.
Yeah, Desert Oasis has proven to be SLush's strong, not strongest, but one of his strong maps, as we have seen him play quite a few times against the Terran player Jinro and do quite well on this map. But we do see QXC, the purple Terran there, spawning in the north spawn point, and SLush, the orange Zerg, spawning in the southern point. One thing to note is that in the past, in these showcase series, we have seen Cthulhu do some amazing things here on Desert Oasis. We'll have to see if QXC opts to go for the standard or do anything a little bit unique here from his play. And SLush looks like, I mean, Sean, do you think we're going to see him do anything a little bit different here? I think he's trying to still readjust to this pass change today.
Well, what I've seen him do on this map is to get a lair relatively quickly and open up with some Mutalisks. Even if your opponent does open up with some Vikings, Mutalisks are surprisingly good at killing Vikings off, and SLush is very bold with his Mutalisks generally, and there we do see an extractor trick by SLush. Was hoping we get to see just a regular old extractor, but of course that's getting a little bit too gas hungry. I mean, that's very Cthulhu luck, fast Banshee style.
We do see a Rax going down here from QXC, as well as a gas. Probably going to be seeing the early Reaper here, as he is not building any more SCVs. He's going to be building that Reaper as soon as he gets a Tech Lab onto that Rax. Looks like we see SLush actually now building gas before a pull here, Sean, so it looks like you are going to get your wish.
Well, we do, see a lot of Zergs opting for Mutalisks on this map. It's an excellent way to open, but, I mean, it's going to be a little tough with no pool yet. Looks like QXC is going for the very classic, ultra-fast Reaper harass on this map. Very standard, does a little bit of damage early on, and then you can adapt very easily to whatever the Zerg ends up doing. But look at this, incredibly late pool on 15 when he had 300. So we'll see if too many drones end up getting killed off.
It looks like he does see that early gas from the Terran player. He was possibly going to be taking an early expansion there, getting up to 300 minerals, but he just throws down that spawning pool. Kind of a desperation move, as he knows that this Reaper is going to be coming straight to his base relatively soon. QXC doesn't scout the natural expansion hatch there. He is going to run this SCV into the main and probably see the spawning pool about half or 60% now complete, and he's probably going to have a big smile on his face as his Reaper is about to pop out of that Rax.
Alas, it is not a Jinro-style Reaper. Jinro-style would be to upgrade the speed, the Nitro packs, for those Reapers. And oh no, QXC's guy goes the wrong way. It goes down the front of the ramp instead of out the backside. And here, finally, we see this Reaper move forward. God, it looks like QXC can't quite decide where he wants to go with that Reaper. There's always a big decision of where you want to go, whether you want to come from the front end or whether you want to pop in from behind. And look at this, SLush also throwing down a very fast Roach Warren to be able to repel that Reaper harass all the more easily. And it looks like that second Reaper is going to get there at about the same time as the... oh, sorry, I thought that was a second Reaper on the map. That is actually an SCV on the right. Looks like the first one and only Reaper is going to be easily repelled by this beautiful placement by SLush, and QXC getting up there takes out one Zergling, almost takes out two. And there goes the third, and the fourth one is just one shot away. So if he's able to get it off, then that would be some great control.
Yeah, really great control from QXC with that Reaper. That Roach Warren does finish, but now he's up against the Queen, that Reaper. It looks like he is going to be falling back there, as that Queen was just doing too much damage to him. And he does have an SCV there just chilling in the mineral line of SLush, but now that Queen is going to end his little, I guess, chill session there. But we do see these two Reapers now right outside of SLush's base. Looks like he's going to be scouting for that natural expansion, and he's not going to find anything. We see a lair actually coming now from SLush. Might possibly be seeing those mutas that you were talking about, Sean.
Absolutely love that opening. A little confused by QXC's opening. He is going for the very fast double racks. He is getting Reaper speed, which is an